Melissa Lee.
Speaker, I rise to support the Appropriation 2016-2017 Estimates Bill. And I just want to start by saying what an excellent budget the Honourable Bill English has actually put up. And, you know, we used to say he has put out as many budgets as he has children, but we have to actually, he's surpassed that. So he's actually delivered more budgets than he has children. This is his 8th one, and each one has been amazing. And I just want to congratulate him for his incredible hard work and delivering a fantastic budget, sir. Before I sort of talk about some of the details of the budget, I just want to address some things that the member who just sat down, David Shearer, member for Mount Albert, has actually said. He actually says it's appalling. What is appalling, and what people will find appalling, is that Labor has actually given up. They've actually decided that they've given up, and they've actually turned to the Green Party and says, hallelujah, we will adopt everything that you actually say. And I think people will actually turn and actually look at the Labor Party and say, what appalling decision they've actually made. They'll be ashamed of their decision one day. And one of the things that Mr. David Shearer loved to talk about was the trade policy that Labor Party actually has had. And I know that his good friend Phil Goff and he agree on the TPP and support this government's policy on that. But no, they couldn't support that publicly because they had their knuckles hit. But I think it was Phil Goff who actually was allowed to support that because he's standing for the mayoralty in Auckland. Sir, one of the things that I feel passionate about in this budget was Dr. Jonathan Coleman's in his health portfolio. This budget, we've actually announced $39.3 million over 4 years for the national bowel screening, starting with Hutt Valley and Wairarapa DHB, and it will be spread right across the country, sir. And I was just interested in the bowel screening thing because, I mean, you know, as women, we have cervical screening. We also have breast cancer screening as well. And I was just interested in how many people were affected by bowel screening. And I was shocked to find out that bowel cancer actually affects more than the people who die on our roads through car crashes. And breast cancer and prostate cancer death put together equals, or we have more people dying of bowel cancer than those two other cancers, breast cancer and prostate cancer put together. So I think it's an amazing thing that we're actually doing for the people who actually suffer from cancer. And for someone who has actually recently lost a good friend through cancer, I think any screening that provides prevention work in the health sector has to be really good, and I support that, sir. On this side of the House, we're actually committed and focused on achieving results, sir. And for New Zealanders up and down the country, we are committed to supporting them and their families to achieve their goal, to have aspiration, to actually set the goals, actually, for them to decide that they want to own a home, they want to actually have certain educational goals, they actually want aspiration for their families. Under National, there are 40 new houses. I mean, earlier, other members have actually talked about some of the issues with Auckland. I live in Auckland as well, and I know that we have a major shortage in houses, but this side of the House, this government has delivered 40 new houses being built every day in Auckland, and that is 4 times more than what was being delivered back in 2008 when Labor was in charge. So when they actually turn around and say we're not delivering anything, they're actually wrong. We're doing 4 times more than what they were doing when they were responsible for the Treasury ventures. We're growing social housing as well, so opportunity supporting those that need across, right across the sector. Over the summer, I was very fortunate to attend the sod turning of the Chinese New Settler Services Trust, who were investing in providing social housing for their senior members of the Chinese community. So it was a partnership between the government as well as the private sector, and the Chinese New Settler Services were actually doing something about their own community's need for social housing for their senior members. And I congratulate them for the work that they do, because I think this is really important. This is just one of many enterprising community groups of all shapes and sizes that are responding to the needs of their own community, and I think we need to celebrate that. More than 150 special housing areas have now been announced through the Special Housing Accord to relieve the housing situation in Auckland, sir. Hundreds of hectares of new housing, land designed for affordable homes for Kiwi families, and the development of new homes have actually been released. And it's freeing up over $100 million worth of land, land surplus to the Crown holding, and will help more families onto property ladder and owning their own properties, and I think that's really important. So the housing market has now reached record levels for building growth, and I think, when you look at the numbers that we're actually building, we've actually hit an 11-year high with consents issued to more than 28,000 new dwellings around New Zealand. This is on track to be 15,000 more homes built than during the last Parliament, a total of 85,000 new homes to 2017, sir. This will be achieved, and it will help grow the New Zealand housing stock to ease the demand on supply and give New Zealand families more opportunities around the country. This is excellent work done by Honourable Nick Smith, and we should be congratulating him for his work. Some have been calling this budget a little boring, and I think, sometimes boring can be a good thing. We need to be conservative. We're not into just taxing and spending like, the members opposite. We're about responsibly managing this government, this economy, and making sure that we're frugal in the way that we actually spend our taxpayers' money. And what we need to actually do is spend it in the right places. And I cannot see what is boring about getting more New Zealanders into jobs, building more affordable homes and growing our economy, helping support 42,000 training apprentices across the country is actually not boring at all, sir. And neither is $24 million being invested to support more apprentice training, more aspirational young New Zealanders. And not everybody goes to university to study degrees and become fantastic architects or doctors or accountants. Some people are more suited to trades, and I think the fact that we're spending $24 million helping people into trades academies, into trades and as apprentices to grow their skills into a job, I think is a really fantastic thing. 42,000 training apprentices up and down the country is a fantastic number, sir. This leads me to an important point about the number of people who are actually leaving school with NCEA level 2. So back in 2008, the number of people who are actually gaining NCEA level 2 was only about 68%. Minister Parata, every time I talk about Minister Parata, I remember the look in her eyes whenever she talks about the student achievement. She's so passionate about student achievement. And I think when you look at the fact that we now have 84% of students who reach NCEA level 2, from 68 back in 2008 to 84% now, that is a fantastic achievement. And I think we need to congratulate our ministers of education. The record $11 billion investment made to support aspirational New Zealanders and their education cannot be boring, and it should not be dismissed, and I think we should celebrate that. Congratulations to our ministers for education, and I thank them personally as well, because the Mount Albert electorate, although I'm a list member based there, have actually had a lot of benefit. Balmoral School and Western Springs School have actually received a lot of money for their new building and renovation work that they're actually doing. And the Community Education Hub in Point Chevalier is actually, getting benefits for the students there and obviously the families who are in the electorate as well. And the other thing that I feel really passionate is about the Pharmac funding, $124 million more to funding available to Pharmac. And what that really means is that, more money for more medicines for more New Zealanders. And I think, when healthcare is at the forefront of our budget is something that we should actually celebrate, because, ultimately health is really more important. We could grow the economy, but when we don't have healthy families and healthy children who can actually, celebrate the wealth of our country, I think, it's a sad country indeed. So I think when we're providing better health care, more funding for things like, advanced melanoma drug or hepatitis C drug, and, when we're investing we're the party that delivered Herceptin to the women of New Zealand. When we're delivering more drugs that are relevant to growing healthier New Zealanders, I think we need to actually celebrate, and I actually welcome the decision that was made on the Farm Act decision. So this is a great budget, and I congratulate the Minister of Finance.